So the New York Times had an article a few days ago. Men, where have you gone? Please come back. And it says so many men have retreated from intimacy, hiding behind firewalls, filters, and curated personas, dabbling and scrolling. We miss you. So, now that you're seeing, this subject of dating or I should say lack of dating, and marriage, or I should say lack of marriage, coming up so frequently, we could read the story first, but I'll just say before I even get into the story, we already know exactly what's happening. Specifically, if you're a man, you pretty much already know exactly what's happening. So basically, men have retreated from everything. Men have pulled back from dating. Men have pulled back from marriage. Men have pulled back from college and university admissions. We're not enrolling as much into these schools as the school industrial complex needs us to enroll in. A lot of men have decided that instead of padding these liberal arts degrees, what they're doing is they're going and getting vocational technology training skills. So men are going into welding, men are going into construction, men are going into plumbing, electrician, et cetera, et cetera. You see, the problem is men build. Women don't build anything, and that's the bottom line. Men build, women do not build anything. I've said this a billion times. You'll never see a group of women building submarines, skyscrapers, bridges, space stations, space shuttles, airplanes. You'll just never see it. Oh, yes, there are a few women who do try to join those jobs, and they come in and work for those companies, maybe. There are a few, but they're very far and few between. It's a male-dominated thing to build. Men build stuff. Not only do men build stuff, but men also go to war and tear stuff down. You don't see war groups of women and only women. You just don't see it. Men build. Women don't. What women do is women help men build by providing families. Women birth children, and they help men build families. And when women help men build families, there are girls and there are boys. The boys grow up to be men who will be the future builders, and the women, or I should say the girls, grow up to be women who will help another man build his family. And that is the natural order of things. Now, you can call me a sexist, you can call me a racist, a misogynist, you can call me whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. But the truth is the truth. Nature designed things a certain way, and evolution must be served. So why are men pulling back from everything? Well, men are pulling back, especially when it comes to dating and marriage, simply because of divorce. Men don't want to get married. There's really no benefit. The more and more I look at it, there's really no benefit to marriage for men. There's really no benefit. Like, I've seen a lot of these studies, they're like, oh, yeah, well, men who are married are way more likely to live longer. I don't know if that's 100% true. It may be true based on your studies, but the simple fact is, if a man stays married, that might be true. But if a man is married to a woman who decides to become a pain in the ass, or who decides to divorce him and try to take half his shit, chances are he's not going to stay, happily living for very long. Chances are. So my thing is, there's no reason. Like for instance, I'm looking right now. You could probably hear it in the background. I'm looking at my ceiling fan. So my ceiling fan is attached to my house. And there's only one name on my property. Any of my properties you look at, there's only one name. It's my name. Why would I put somebody else's name on my property who didn't work for my property? And if that person suddenly up and decides to leave, they could take half my shit with them. Like half of, like when I think about it, I got 2 cars sitting outside. And if somebody decided to come in here and then divorce me, they could take one of my cars. It's like, how does that work? Or if I got two houses and they had their name on my property, some judge, some bullshit judge in some robe could just bang a fucking gavel and say, yeah, you get to take half his shit. Like, why would I sign up for that? That doesn't make sense at all. I think men are about profit and loss statements. Men, their minds work more like corporation. We're focused on return on investment. They call it ROI. Why would I risk so much when I don't have to? Like, why? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. The ROI is not in my favor. Let's read this silly ass story. So, as you can see, I'm not on the New York Times page because, I'm not paying them anything. I refuse to pay them. When you think about ROI, it's like you guys come out with an article like once in a blue moon that's interesting to read. Like, why the hell should I pay you every single month? Like, it doesn't make sense. So anyway, it says May 17th, a warm Saturday night in Wicker Park, a vibrant stretch of Chicago where 7 restaurants crowd a single block. Troy and I were having dinner at Mama Dalia, one of the quieter spots. The sidewalk patio held 5 tables, 3 two-tops including ours, and a pair pulled together for a group of 8 women. At those tables, Troy was the only man. Has this happened to you? You go out with a bunch of women, or you go out on a date and you end up in a bunch of women, you're the only man? That happens to me a lot because I happen to work in an industry where there's a lot of lonely and single women, and a lot of them are advanced in age. I guess that's the nice way of saying they're old. That happens to me actually a lot. And I end up being the only man at the table. But anyway, the scene was beautiful. Low lights, shared plates, shoulders angled in. The kind of evening people wait for all winter. Still, I found myself watching the crowd as it moved past us. Women walking in pairs or alone, dressed with care. At table after table at the nearby restaurants, there was a noticeable absence of men. At least of men seated in what looked like dates. Troy and I have only known each other for almost 20 years. We met at Playboy, really. Of all places, back when we were both learning how desire gets packaged, sold, and sometimes misunderstood. We stayed close friends, bonded not just by our opinions, but by the effort it takes to stay in someone's life. That night, we made the effort. Still, what I saw unfolding around us felt like something else entirely, a collective shift I couldn't unsee. It started to become clear the previous April when a man who had been pursuing me canceled a dinner at the last minute. There was a scheduling mix-up with his son's game. Okay, so he already had a son from a previous relationship. That was never going to work, dear. I understood I'm a hockey mom. I get it. Still, so she's got a kid from a previous relationship too. I wore what I wouldn't have worn anyway. I took the table, I ordered well, and I watched the room. Only 2 tables nearby seemed to hold actual dates. The rest were groups of women or women alone, each one occupying her space with quiet confidence. No shrinking, no waiting, no apologizing. That night marked something. Not a heartbreak, but an unveiling. A sense that what I'd been experiencing wasn't just personal misalignment. It was something broader, cultural, a slow vanishing of presence. We're slowly turning into Japan. So anyway, I spent over a decade behind the curtain of digital desire as the custodian of records for Playboy and its affiliate. This is boring. Can't you just get straight to the point? I work closely with copyright attorneys and marketing teams to understand exactly. This is the reason why I'm not going to pay the New York Times anything. It's like their stories. It's like these people are writing just to prove that they have the ability to write. It's like, just get to the fucking point. Like, you're wasting so much time. And that's the problem. The women are wasting so much time. That's the problem right there. They're wasting time. Just get to the point. Okay, here we go. We knew what worked. We knew how to frame a face, a gesture, a moment of implication. Just enough to ignite fantasy and open a wallet. I came to understand in exact terms what cues tempt the average 18 to 36-year-old cis. Okay, I promised a long time ago I will never use those fucking stupid terms. Cis, gender, all that bullshit. I will never use that fucking. So I'm only saying it just because it's in quotes technically here. No, a normal man. I'm not saying cis, that's some bullshit. A normal man. Normal. That's the word you're supposed to use. Normal. Normal. What drew him in, what kept him coming back. It wasn't intimacy. It wasn't mutuality. It was access to simulation, clean, fast, and frictionless. Let me tell you something. When you allow people to change your language and you allow people to force you to use bullshit words that you never would have used before, that's when you lose. You never allow them to do that. Never allow anybody to change your language. If you're going to use specific words, you use your words to express intent and express thought. You do not allow anybody to change your language. This is where modern men have absolutely gone wrong. But, I do appreciate that we have a president at this point, and this motherfucker is literally standing up there cursing. Oh, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And, but he's not being presidential. It's like, well, technically, yeah, he is, because he's the president. He's setting the tone. So, yeah, technically, this is not something that has no precedent. Other presidents have done the exact same thing. It's just that he's doing it and you don't like him. So, no, don't let anybody control your language. Don't let anybody control the way you think. What really bothers me is that on the internet, and now I'm seeing it on television, you have these people, they're scared to use the word kill anymore. They use the word unalive. That's the stupidest shit. And the problem is, when you do it, you're playing right into their hands. You're basically a slave. So anyway, in that world, there's no need for conversation, no effort, no curiosity. Well, this is boring. Wait, I want to get to the sex. This is fucking boring. Okay, sexual tension and a spark aren't reason enough to sit still and hope there's substance behind the shimmer. So I named what I felt. I texted him clearly with care, not simply. This is boring. This is the reason why men aren't going on dates anymore. It's because it's boring. There was a time not so long ago when even a one-night stand might end with tangled limbs and a shared breakfast. When the act of staying the night didn't announce a relationship, just a willingness to be human for a few more hours. Now, even that kind of unscripted contact feels rare. We've built so many boundaries that we've walled off the very moments that make connections memorable. And frankly, morning sex is often the best sex. Of course it is. Sometimes you even get a side of eggs before you disappear from their bed and their life forever. This idea that vulnerability is a threat instead of an invitation has created a culture of hesitation, of men circling intimacy but never entering it. And the result is thousands of tiny silos. Everyone performing closeness, but no one making a move that binds. Isolation, loneliness, a hunger for contact that has nowhere to land. Maybe we're between paradigms, mourning what's fallen, not yet fluent in what comes next. The infrastructures of intimacy slow. This is so fucking boring. Oh my God. This is the reason why nobody reads anymore. Like, I read regularly, but it's usually nonfiction and science-based or technology-based. This is so boring. We remember you, the version of you that lingered at the table oh God, this is fucking boring. God damn it. I hope the New York Times is listening. This is the reason why I'm not paying you any money, okay? You're boring me. You are boring me. I get more entertainment reading Wall Street Journal. This is boring. Let's see. Come back, not with flowers or fireworks, but with willingness, with your whole beautiful imprint. They're going to put me to sleep. As for me, I'll keep showing up, not because I'm waiting, because I know what it feels like when someone finally arrives. Rachel Drucker is an intellectual property professional in Chicago. Modern Love can be I'm not going to read any more of her stuff because I can promise you that. This is boring. This is so boring. We had to break up. He refused. Jobless, anxious, and flirting online. All right. So basically, long story short, she's saying that the reason why men aren't coming out is because men don't want to be vulnerable. If you had just said that, I probably could have just agreed with you. It's just like the example that I bring up. I have lots and lots of stuff accumulated, and I would never risk my financial being on some one night stand or some chick trying to put her name on my shit. In other news, Jeff Bezos just got married, and this dude, you've got all the money in the world, and you marry some single mama with with kids. It's like, why? Now, I don't know about his situation. I don't know if he's got prenuptial agreements and this, that, and other. But what I do know is Elon Musk lost quite a bit of money to his divorce. I know that Bill Gates lost quite a bit of money to his divorce. I know that, what's that other guy? Because it was like three of them at the same time. I think Bezos was actually one of them. So you had Musk, you had Bill Gates, and I think it was Bezos. I could be wrong. There was a third guy who got divorced at around the same time. I think he was cheating. Long story short, why would you even take risks like that? It's like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then these women are bragging about women have home ownership rates going up and everything, but in most cases, they're getting these homes from divorce. Like, they're literally taking the house. It's like, why would you risk anything? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm the type of person who stays out of the casino. I don't go to casinos. If I go to the casino, I'm only going there to see what the place looks like, to sit down, maybe to have some drinks. I don't gamble. I just don't do it. My how should I say, my definition or my choice in gambling is actually buying stock, dividend paying stock. And even then, you don't really lose your money because your money just sits there, and as long as the company continues to exist, it pays you a dividend. It's like, I would rather, like, I had an aunt, and she likes to go into the casino and spend big amounts of money. It's like, if I had taken the money that she was spending in a casino and I was putting it into a portfolio for her, she'd be extremely rich right now. And I mean, she wasted tremendous amounts of money that it's like, I'm embarrassed talking about how much money she'll roll in the casino with $10,000, $20,000. Like, I'm like, why would you like risk that kind of money? And of course the end, oh, well, it's fun. And, oh yeah, well, if I win, I'll have a lot more. And I'm like, yeah, I don't see the point in that. And she would like, when you go to the casino, they have to figure out ways to keep you coming back. Sometimes they give you free tickets on cruise ships, and it's usually a bullshit cruise on Carnival or something where you're surrounded by like poor people. If it's not a cruise ship, sometimes they give you free tickets to a different casino that they have in another state. Like, for instance, you could be in New York and they give you tickets to go to like Las Vegas. And I'm like, I could have just saved my money and gone there anyway. It's like, why would I need to play in a casino to hope to win free tickets? It doesn't make any sense. I'm just not into the risk. And it's funny with men. As men grow older, they become more risk adverse. They don't want to risk anything. Like, young men are at risk, and young men risk. They're always gambling with risk at young ages. But as men get older, they're not willing to risk anything. They're just not willing to do it. And I just don't see the point. It's like, for instance, even going out on dates, it's like, we've seen news articles where the men think that they're going out on dates and the men think that they're investing in a future relationship, only to find out that these women are playing them and the women are using men just to eat. And what they're doing is they're going out on dates and they're insisting that these men take them to expensive places. These bitches are taking photos of all the food. They're leaving pictures of the men out of the food. So what they're doing is they're taking a picture of the dinner. They're cropping the men's faces so that you don't see who's the guy. Or what they're doing, which is even more nefarious, is they crop only a picture of their plate and not the other plate. So you have no idea if there's a man there or not. So you see this all the time on Instagram. You see this all the time on Facebook. And what they're basically doing is they're advertising themselves. They say, oh, yeah, well, I'm out having a good time. They make it seem like they're paying for this. They make it seem like they're sitting there alone. Or there's always the possibility they're there with some girlfriends and they're just doing that. But you know what I've noticed? When they're there with girlfriends, they actually take photos of the whole group and you actually see everybody. But if they're there with a man, they crop that guy, that poor soul, they crop his ass out of the photo. So this guy just paid for a nice meal and they cropped his ass out of the photo. And you wouldn't even know it. And then they're online advertising themselves, taking ass photos, taking crotch photos, taking top photo. They're advertising themselves constantly. And when the men don't show up around them or wherever they are, then they start going places where the men are and they start advertising themselves even more. Soliciting is the word. They go to the gym. They're doing low impact aerobics in front of them. The men are trying. Now you're a man. You're sitting there. You're trying to use those dumbbells. You're sitting on the Olympic bench, and these women are there in front of you doing low impact aerobics. They got a hat on. The hat's got a low brim so that they can see you and they can see what you're looking at, but you may or may not be able to see their eyes. And they start ass exercises right in front of you. And then now you're uncomfortable because if you start staring at him, oh, he's looking at me. He's trying to rape me or some shit. And then they go complain. And next thing you know, you're a man and you're on Facebook or Instagram and you've got like allegations against you. Or you go out for these dates. These women are using you for food. And then they're cropping you out of the photos. And you spend all this money. And they go home to their real boyfriend. It's like, why would any man want to risk that? It's like, why? It doesn't make sense. And then in the most extreme case, let's say somehow this leads to marriage, and she's up and decides, oh yeah, I don't love you no more, and she wants to take half your shit and fucking leave. Why should you risk it? It doesn't make sense. It just does. You'd be a fool to risk. You'd be stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the reason why more and more of these stories are coming out. They're showing men are pulling back away from everything. Men aren't going on dates. Even the gyms are starting to complain that they're not getting enough men in there. It's like the men aren't coming to the gyms. The men aren't going on dates. The men aren't going to college. They're not going to these universities. The men are just falling away. It's like they don't want to deal with this nonsense anymore. And it makes perfect sense. Why should you try to build on shifting sand? Why should you try to build if there's no foundation? Why would you do that? So that's the story. It was extraordinarily boring, and I could have written a better story if I was sitting on the toilet and I had a composition notebook. It's like I don't know where these people come from. It's like you're a financial person and everything, and you're boring. It's like you might as well just sit in that office and just wither away because you're so boring, and your story's boring, and your writing style is boring, and it's boring, and I just don't like it. So that was by Rachel Drucker, a boring story. And I wasn't impressed. I didn't feel like reading it. And I've read things that are much, much longer and much, much more interesting. And this was not one of them. You were boring. And I just needed to say that. So I don't know how you feel about this. Maybe I'm going to add another story to this that's more exciting because this was absolutely just boring.
So part of the reason why people are worried about men pulling back, it's partially because you have the corporations out there and they're looking for money always, and they want access to our wallets. Then there's the economy, which is literally kicking these women's asses. I've noticed that I'm not seeing as many of those quote unquote boss babes on the road driving the BMW M6 and the GLC Mercedes and the GLE Mercedes. I'm not seeing that much anymore. And part of it is because here in New York City specifically, rent is kicking ass. Chances are they don't have a house. See, you know what's so funny is that they're so quick to try to vote for politicians to make these wild promises about all the freebies and welfare that they're going to hand out. I'm going to pay your student loans. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you child tax credits. And I'm not going to leave Donald Trump out of that either, because this turkey was literally trying to bribe women with $5,000, which is nothing. $5,000 is nothing. $5,000 isn't even half of what I paid to go on vacation to Bali and Singapore last year. How are you going to try to bribe somebody with $5,000? To which I replied, well, Mr. President, if you really want to bribe them, what you should be doing is offering them free housing. Like you should be offering them an apartment or something, just like they do in Soviet Russia or just like they did in communist China, because that's the only way you're going to get these women to reproduce. You're going to tell them, yeah, I'm going to give you a free apartment, and you have to have one baby every 3 years or something in order to stay. That's like the only way you're going to get that. And now we're moving into communist territory. So just keep in mind that President Trump was offering $5,000 as bribery to try to bribe these women. Now, see, if it was me and I was president, no fucking way. I would, no, I'm not offering you a damn dime. But this welfare state refuses to die. I hate the welfare state with a passion because it taxes hardworking Americans like me. I would rather take that money and spend it on Brembo brakes or the cruise fin of the tail miss. I would rather spend that money on anything else. I would rather spend that money on Starlink satellites. But no, you're trying to spend $5,000 to bribe women to have children. So the decline of the economy, the decline of America, the decline of American families, the decline of childbirth. Well, what's one of the things that we're seeing? Well, now they're starting to talk about dating apps. Men aren't joining dating apps no more. How are these women supposed to get into these men's pockets if they can't easily advertise their scooch to these men over the internet? How are they supposed to do it? You tell me, how are they supposed to do it? They can't. So the men, the average men, you know what they're doing? They're sitting at home waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out. That's what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about women. They're not thinking about dates. They're sitting at home. They probably have air mattress or something. They probably have very little where they live, because men, it doesn't take very much for a man to be satisfied. But they're waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. They're not thinking about no goddamn dating app. Why would I get on an app where the entire point is for me to spend money to take women out on dates? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. Not only that, I've also said before, smart men should stay away from these dating apps, because these dating apps are nothing more than the height of a woman's hypergamy. Why would you put yourself in a position where they can swipe left or swipe right on you or whatever it is? Because I've never used one of those apps. So I don't know which way you're supposed to swipe to say, no, I don't like this guy, or yes, I do like this guy. I've never used one of these fucking apps, and I never will. But my thing is, why would you put yourself in that position? She's sitting back, looking at her phone. Oh, yeah, this guy's cute. So I'm going to swipe left or swipe right, whatever it is. And this other guy doesn't look cute. And even the guy who's cute, she's going to still swipe on him because she thinks that she's going to hold out for something better. And that's where it's all going wrong. The women are holding out for something better. This is the height of hypergamy. The height of it. Why would you put yourself in that position? Doesn't make sense. Dating apps surged in popularity over the past decade especially during the pandemic. But the trend may be losing steam. Of course it's losing steam. Queens City News chief business correspondent Taylor Young reports that more users are now swiping left. Okay, so I guess that's the bad thing to do. I guess if you swipe left, that means you're not interested. On the digital dating scene, raising questions about the industry future. So right here, you got some woman's feet, and they're trying to sell feet photos on OnlyFans so that she can afford to keep her Mercedes GLE. So you got to pay money to see these feet. See, you know what? Let me tell you something. I have huge respect for Asian culture. Like you may have noticed, I like Asian culture a lot. The men in Asian cultures decided, you know what? If we have foot fetishes, all we got to do is we got to put it into the religion to say, yeah, if you come into the house, you got to take your shoes off. Period. This is like some shit that Quentin Tarantino would do. Like he was so thirsty to get Salma Hayek's feet into his mouth that this guy literally wrote a role where Salma Hayek is on a stage and she's getting undressed and she's got her feet out. And then he wrote himself into the role just so he could get them feet in his mouth. That's genius. So these Asian cultures, what they did was they say, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to make it so that when you walk in, you got to take your shoes off. Period. And they had foot fetishes, obviously, and they wrote this into law. They wrote it into religion. These guys were brilliant. They were geniuses. They had them foot fetishes. So rather than spend money on OnlyFans, they have an entire culture designed around getting at them feet. I can't knock that. That's genius. That's absolute genius. So anyway, where are we? Where's the rest of this stupid story? Where's the rest of it? No, I don't want to see the next story. I gotta push cancel. Where's the rest of the story? Oh, okay. So the story is basically a video, and they're talking about this burnout from the dating decline. So what is this? Sort by date. Business analyst, is user burnout leading to dating app decline? Is burnout leading to dating app decline? Dating app Bumble to cut hundreds of jobs. Okay, this was 2 days ago. The love connection falters. Dating apps face existential crisis. Oh, okay, so yeah, I'll go to this one because this one doesn't seem to just be a video. The love connection falters. Dating apps face existential crisis as Bumble's layoffs signal structural decline. You get the story even without reading it, but it says the digital dating industry, once a symbol of modern romance's evolution, is now grappling with a stark reality. Its golden age may be over. Bumble's recent announcement of laying off 30% of its global workforce, 240 jobs, has reignited questions about whether the sector's struggles are cyclical or structural. Bumble stock has plummeted 90% since 2021, and its first quarter 2025 revenue fell 7.7% year over year, while premium subscribers dropped by 1%. What exactly is a premium subscriber? What does that mean? I don't even understand that. Like, you subscribe, but if you're a premium subscriber, you get what? Like, I don't understand. You get access to better women? Like, I don't understand. These numbers paired with shifting Gen Z preferences suggest the sector is in the throes of a legitimacy crisis, one that may not easily be reversed. The layoffs, is this a Band-Aid or a turnaround? So it says Bumble's restructuring, which aids to save $40 million annually, is framed as a pivot towards AI-driven matchmaking. Okay, let me just say this. Some of these dating sites have been caught using artificial intelligence to make it appear that there's actually more men than there actually are. So some of them have actually been caught doing this. You can't even imagine the amount of scams that you can run using AI and dating apps. There was some dating app, it might have been Bumble, in fact, where it was basically designed by women to make it so that, how should I say, unwanted men couldn't bother the women who didn't want to be bothered or something like that. And I'm pretty sure whatever that site is, and I think it might have been Bumble. I got to look that up. I think it actually might have been Bumble. Bumble dating app. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was designed by women, if I'm not mistaken. But bottom line is this. Let me see. Bumble Bumble is an online dating and network application launched 2014. Profiles of potential matches are displayed to users who can swipe left or reject a candidate or swipe right. I think that, yeah, it was like Tinder. The app is a product of Bumble, founded by Whitney Wolf shortly after she left Tinder. I think this is it. Yeah. Let me see. History. Whitney Wolf, an early VP of marketing at Tinder, found Bumble. Yup, this is it. Shortly after leaving Tinder, Wolf Hurd sued Tinder for sexual discrimination and harassment and settled for just over $1 million in September 2014. Amidst the media attention surrounding the lawsuit, acquaintance Badu founder and CEO Andrei Andreev contacted Wolf, blah, blah, blah. So the whole point, from what I remember of Bumble, was because, let me see, it says starting in April 2022, Bumble users who report abuse are eligible for a collection of free courses from Bloom. Oh my God. This is the stupidest shit. And let me tell you something. When I see stupid nonsense, I just want it to die immediately. In fact, I would love to dedicate part of my time to helping destroy it. But in this case, I don't have to do a thing. It was doomed to fail. From what I remember, Bumble was supposedly founded by a feminist who didn't want, undesirable males being able to contact women who are on these dating apps, right? This is what I'm saying. Why would you be putting yourself in a position like that to have somebody else deciding whether or not you're favorable or whatever? Like, that shit doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, yes, they're cutting jobs. Good. Take your pink slip, clean out your desk, and get out. And I love it. I love it. So it's failing. The other dating sites are failing. They're doing terribly. The men are backing away. The men are not participating. I love it. I freaking love it. If it was up to me, if I had a button and I could push one button and all the men simultaneously terminate all of their accounts, I would push that button 10 days ago if I had that button to push. It's the height of a woman's hypergamy. All you're doing is feeding into that nonsense. Jeff Bezos, you have done men in general, you've done us an extreme disservice. These single mamas out there who think that Superman's going to come and wipe them up, and then you actually go and do it. Jeff Bezos, you've done us an extreme disservice. Jeff Bezos. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I don't give a shit how much money you got. That bald head, I'll wipe your bald head. You've done us an extreme disservice. The way it was supposed to work is you're supposed to shame women who are having children out of wedlock. You're supposed to blame them for terrible behavior. You're supposed to shame them, blame them, and then explain to them how they can do better. We're supposed to be making examples out of people. When you're a single mom, that's supposed to be, all the other mothers out there who are walking around with their daughters are supposed to point at the single mom and say, look, honey, if you don't marry before you carry and you don't pick a very good man to marry, that's going to be you. And you're supposed to show the single mother out there starving to death with her children, starving, and they're supposed to have no food, and they may have to resort to eating squirrels and birds and turtles in order for them to eat. Like, they're living out on the street, they're starving, and the other women are passing by with their daughters. And when they see these women, they clutch their daughters tightly and they say, hey, listen, if you don't listen to what your mama tells you, you're going to end up just like that. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Shaming, blaming, and explaining. Do you understand? Shame, blame, explain. That's what we're supposed to do. If they are out there and they're starving to death, other people will use that as an example of what not to do. That's the reason why we have shows like Cops. They show you examples of criminals, and they're like, don't do this, and you won't end up like that. That's how it works. Now, y'all are like, oh, why is it that when people get arrested, they resist arrest, and they don't just comply? The reason why is very simple. It's because they haven't seen enough media that has socialized them to simply don't resist arrest. When I grew up, I watched cops all the time. Now I understand if the cops come and they decide that they're going to arrest me, I'm going one way or another. I also understand that you have a right to remain silent. You don't have to answer any questions. Let them arrest you. When you get down there, you have your lawyer come and your lawyer answers all the questions. A lot of the stuff they're investigating. They have no information. They're anxious to get information. All you got to do is not say anything. But most people don't understand that. So I understand, listen, if I got arrested, all you do is you don't resist arrest. You say nothing. Your lawyer comes. He does all the talk. You don't have to say anything. You don't even have to say anything in court. Your lawyer talks for you. A lot of people just don't understand that. But the reason why I understand it, and a lot of other people don't understand it, is because I grew up watching television shows like Real Stories of the Highway Patrol, Cops, this, that, and other. And we learned from those TV shows. Now when you turn on the TV, it's stupid shit. Everything's stupid. Everything is idiotic, stupid shit. I used to like watching the People's Court. You used to watch Judge Wapner tear these people apart in court. If you don't have a receipt, you're going to lose. Now when I watch court TV, you got 5 or 6 judges sitting up there like it's a goddamn game show. Or you got a judge calling everybody dope fiends because he thinks it's funny. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this how you're supposed to act in court? Even Judge Judy, it's like she calls people idiots and stupid and everything. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this proper courtroom decor? Are you supposed to do that? And I'm thinking, no, you're not really supposed to do that. But the thing about it is we've set the bar so fucking low that everything's just falling apart at this point. Why am I saying all that? I'm saying that to say this. Stay off these goddamn dating apps. Let them die. That's what was it? James Kirk. Spock said, oh, Jim, they're dying. And he said, let them die. Let these dating apps burn. Let them lay off 100% of their workers. Make it so that when they go on these dating apps, the only thing that they got to choose from is a rubber doll or some type of vibrating product. No men. That's how you win. What was that? The movie War Games. What did it say? It said, war, strange game, the only way to win is not to play. Do you understand? Do you understand? Don't play their games. You're making a fool out of yourself. Jeff Bezos, this guy, you spent all that money on used cat. You spent all that money. If I go outside right now and I look not too hard, I can find a nest full of kittens because there's a lot of stray cats and they got kittens out there. If I wanted a cat in my house, I can go out there and get a stray cat, a kitten, and I can bring it into the house and train it to be, a house cat. I'm not going to go get a used cat off the street. Like, why would I do that? That's stupid. Right now, I got a family member who wants to get another German Shepherd puppy. My family members, all of them, we grew up with German Shepherds. We love German Shepherds. And now he wants to get a German Shepherd puppy. So he's looking around at pricing. Why is it that people want to get the puppy and not the grown German Shepherd? You know why? Because number one, you don't know the temperament of the grown German Shepherd. You don't know how that dog has been raised. You don't know that dog's habits. You get the puppy because now you can train that puppy, and that puppy will be a good dog, and that puppy will be perfect in the house with the kids and everybody else. But you train that puppy from the moment that puppy's born, or that kitten, whichever you are, cat or dog person, it doesn't matter. Why would I spend $50 million on used puppies or cats? Why would I do that? I would take that $50 million and build something. Maybe a hospital or something. I don't know. But you best believe me, there's no way in hell I'd spend $50 million on a used cat. No way. This guy has done us an extreme disservice. I don't mind saying it. I don't care how bald you are. But I just don't even know anymore. My thing is, stay off these goddamn dating apps. Let them die. Let them fail. I got to stop banging on my table because stuff's starting to get knocked off of it. Let them burn. That's all I'm saying. There's no reason to participate in this insanity. No reason. That's all I had to say. I try to squeeze in 3 stories. No more than 3 stories. But this news story came out 5 hours ago. The Modern Dating Dilemma. Where have all the good men gone? Story by Angeles Acosta, 5 hours ago. So it says, this isn't just anecdotal. It's a phenomenon explored by researchers and discussed widely, often termed the male deficit. While it's certainly not a feminist critique aimed at demeaning men, it's a candid look at the challenges modern women face in finding compatible partners for long-term relationships. The male deficit explained. So it says the concept of a male deficit highlights a growing imbalance, particularly within higher education. Studies show a significant disparity in college graduation rates, with women outpacing men. For instance, in the U.S., women constitute a larger percentage of undergraduate students and hold more university degrees than men. This creates a dating pool where highly educated women often find a shortage of equally educated male counterparts, especially for those seeking partners with similar academic or professional backgrounds. Beyond education, the shortage is often perceived to be of high-value men, individuals who embody a desirable blend of qualities. Now, first of all, before I go on, let me just remind you of what a high-value man is. When Kevin Samuels had his podcast on YouTube and his Instagram and whatnot, he basically broke down what a high-value man is. In simplistic terms, a high-value man is a public, high-utility, high-earning man. And when I say public, what it means is that pretty much everybody knows who this person is. A high-value man is not somebody who makes a lot of money, but nobody knows who they are. A high-value man is not like I'm trying to think, like a lottery winner, and he made all his money at once, and he's just sitting back, and he's probably trying to lay under the wire so his family's not calling him every goddamn day asking for money. That's not a high-value man. A high-value man is a highly public figure. Everybody in the public knows this person. He is a utility to his community. He also has a network of other high-value men. So somebody like, for example, Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. Nayib Bukele is a high-value man. He's a public man. He makes over $100,000 a year. Now, that number, $100,000, that used to be the number that you would start at, basically a 6-figure salary. But I'm starting to think that a high-value man probably has to make more than $100,000 because of our inflation rate and the cost of living. So let's say a high-value man, because of inflation adjusting, probably has to make about $200,000 a year. He's a highly public figure. He's a utility. That means his community can call on him. Maybe you're talking about like a mayor. You're talking about somebody like Eric Adams. You're talking about somebody like just about any politician that you can think of. All of them make 6-figure salaries. All of them are publicly known. All of them are, they're utilities. So that's a high-value man. But it says, as dating landscapes become increasingly complex, influenced by the rise of hookup culture and online dating, women are often left feeling that finding a genuinely committed, emotionally mature, and ambitious partner is a daunting task. The focus shifts from merely finding a man to finding a decent, high-value man who aligns with their aspirations for a stable, fulfilling relationship. Well, I'm going to tell you just like this. Men, statistically, so it's not something I can make up, men are abstaining from going to college and universities, specifically because they see that if they do go to those things, waiting on the horizon is a pile of debt. Most men, in general, are better at working with their hands, doing vocational chores, electricians, plumbers, roofers, etc., etc. Now, we're dealing with a situation that has probably not really raised its head before. We're dealing with grown men who were raised by single mamas. And the problem there is a lot of them don't have the responsibility and don't have the ambition that they need as men because they didn't have fathers in their life for whatever reason. Maybe their father got shot down because he was a dealer in the streets or something. Maybe he was in jail. Maybe their father went to war and got blown up and never came back. Maybe their father, for whatever reason, wasn't in that. And maybe their mothers just decided that they didn't want their fathers around. Maybe their mothers got pregnant, had these kids out of wedlock, and decided that she was going to just do whatever she felt like doing. It was her hoe phase, they call it. And she decided that she was going to do that. And the baby daddy decided that he didn't want to deal with her no more. So, yeah, she's going to get him for that child support for that 18 years. But there's a number of reasons why these men don't have fathers around. So what you end up with is you end up with these maladjusted young men who are sitting at home in their drawers playing fucking video games. They're on PlayStation 5 and 6. And they're sitting there waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. And they playing Halo. And they sitting there in their drawers. And that's all they do. So they're not very ambitious. So you got to understand, I'm going to tell you this, it's a secret. No matter if you got a woman, right, and she lives with you and she has to come home and see you laying up in your drawers playing video games. And I knew so many dudes like that. And these dudes, the woman goes to work and the dude is sitting at home playing NBA 2K and NFL 2K 10,000 or whatever the fuck, because I don't play those games. I really don't know. And she comes home, she sees you like that. She's not going to respect you. And that's the bottom line. You may think she does, but she doesn't. Chances are she's cheating on you with somebody at work. Specifically, there's always a dude at work who's the work husband. She tells him intimate stuff, and he's waiting to get in her drawers, and that's the work husband. In fact, there was a study, not really a study, but they had an expose in the New York Post, and they were talking about these flight attendants and nurses. And it turns out that a lot of flight attendants, the pilot takes off, he's flying the plane, he throws that thing onto autopilot, flight attendants in there fucking. And the bottom line is it's happening more than you can even imagine. Because you got to remember, a plane has autopilot. It can fly itself, and all it has to do is go from waypoint to waypoint to waypoint. And that's it. All you really have to do is be attentive and take off, land, and just be attentive and watch the airspace. That's all you really have to do. But in the meantime, you got this flight attendant, her drawers off, and they in there screwing. And the New York Post talked about this morning. I'll talk about that another day because that would be a fourth story, so I'm not going to do that right now. But you can type it up, New York Post, sex in the airplanes, stewardesses, and look for stories for today, and you'll see it. Nurses. We already know these nerds. We got, what did they've that's been a pornography trope forever. What do they call them? The night shift nurses. With a nurse, first of all, here you got the dudes who are laying there in the bed, and these dudes are unconscious, and the women are drugging them and giving them the needles in their booty because sometimes they got to turn the guys on their side so you can give them a vitamin injection in the ass. And sometimes you got to wash their crotch and all this, and you got to give them sitz baths and stuff. Let me tell you something. These nurses are screwing out there. And if it's not the patients, it's the doctors. And everybody knows it's the truth. These nurses, they got the doctor. They trying to get with the doctor. The doctor's probably not married because he's a young doctor. And these nurses are screwing. The stewardesses are screwing. The nurses are screwing. So the bottom line is, these are high-value men, and they're snatching up all the women, and they getting all the women, and you don't even know what's going on because you're at home playing Grand Theft Auto 6, or you're waiting for it to come out so you can play it for a week or two, and you turn off the whole world so you can play a stupid-ass video game that they push back an entire year. What women are truly seeking? So anyway, it says, so what exactly are women looking for when they express this sentiment? Well, basically, Alex, they're looking for a man with deep pockets, a tall man with deep pockets, 6 feet. What they say? They got to be at least 6 feet tall, got to have 6-figure income, and a 6-inch Johnson. So they're looking for men with deep pockets because this economy is kicking their ass. All that money we send into Israel and Ukraine, that's money that's not getting spent here in the welfare state. Your man Donald Trump trying to kill, what is it called? Medicare and Medicaid. He's offering you $5,000 to go out and have children, but he wants to cut back on Medicaid and Medicare. That's incredible. It's just ridiculous. So, emotionally available. Oh God, I'm not even gonna read that. That's just stupid. Emotional availability and intelligence. Yeah. Women want men who talk to them as much as they talk to their men. It's like men don't do that. Men are quiet. Men like quiet and peace. The only thing these dudes want to talk about is sports and what they saw in the news, and that's like it. It's like, no. Confidence without arrogance. I don't think that those two are. I think you need confidence, and I think arrogance goes along with it. Because eventually, if you get confident, you get overconfident, so you're going to get arrogant. So we're talking about mutual exclusion right here. But anyway, respect and kindness. Oh, God. Integrity and trustworthiness. Yeah, you don't expect this dude. First of all, what's sad is the women continue to say that they're looking for the men, but that these men are with other women. So what you're basically saying is you're looking for men who cheat and lie. It's really sad. It's disgusting. Ambition and stability. Obviously, we're looking for as much money as they can get. Obviously. They're looking for the guy who's got millions of dollars, which he doesn't exist anymore unless you're like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. And then you find out that these guys are so socially awkward that, because I'm still disgusted with Jeff Bezos. This guy wifes up a single mom. You got all the money in the world, and that's what you're going after? It's like, damn. So anyway, a sense of humor. Maturity and self-awareness. Yeah, you're not getting that. If you got these single mama raised boys waiting at home to get Grand Theft Auto 6, trust me, they're not mature. And as for this self-awareness, this includes taking responsibility for actions. I think it's women who don't take responsibility for actions. Men are taught consequence early on. It goes like this. Men start talking out of pocket, men get punched in the mouth, like right away. They learn accountability very, very quickly. Navigating the modern dating scene. Oh, God, how long is it? Okay, this is it. It says, the perceived shortage isn't necessarily about an absolute lack of men, but rather a mismatch between what available men offer and what available women are seeking. Well, guess what, ladies? If you're going to waste your youth going to some man's school, or you're going to waste your youth going to some man's church, then you're going to waste everything about yourself that these men would possibly be interested in. And it's funny. It's actually funny, and it's also sad at the same time. There are women that I knew growing up, and they were cute then, but as I got older and they got older, it's like all of a sudden the attraction and the draw to them, it just goes, and it doesn't come back. And that's the reason why some of these women are smart enough that when they go to college, they're not just looking for a college degree. They're looking for a husband in college. But that number is constantly shrinking. Most of these women go into these schools and they try to get these big degrees because they think that it makes them superior. Bottom line is, if you're not a medical doctor, I'm not calling you doctor. I don't give a shit about your PhD in women basket weaving or whatever the fuck. I don't care. If you're a doctor, if you're a medical doctor, oh, no problem. I call you doctor. If you're a dentist, no problem. I call you doctor. Whatever. If you're a surgeon, no problem. But if you're going to get some bullshit liberal arts degree and you're going to get a liberal arts degree in gender studies or some stupid shit that you can't even get a job in, I'm not calling you doctor. And I just want you to understand that. So if I don't talk to you, then I just don't talk to you. Because I ain't going to be in one of them situations where, oh, yeah, I got to call you doctor. Fuck that. If you can mend a bone, or you can stop me from bleeding if I'm bleeding, or you can do some surgery on me if I need some surgery, that's when you get called doctor. This whole bullshit that they set up with the women are just going to school getting PhDs for no reason, running up that debt, nah, you can forget it. You can forget it. Period. Period. Okay, so Where are we? For men, it might mean recognizing the value of emotional intelligence and ambition beyond traditional metrics. For women, it may involve broadening their perspectives on compatibility while holding. This when they say words like this, compatibility, while holding firm to their core values. When they say this, it's like a fancy way of saying these men want younger wives, give them younger wives. And these women just ain't doing it. That's the problem. These men want families, they want to have children, but the thing about it is they're not going to date you. What they're going to do is they're going to get their passport, they're going to fly to the poorest country they can find, where the village might not even have water 24/7, and the toilets might not even flush regularly, and electricity when it goes out, like you ever been down to Dominican Republic where you'll be at a what is it called, one of those resorts, and the power just goes out? That's what I'm talking about. These men are going to fly to the poorest goddamn nations they can find, and they're going to find the youngest wives they can get legally, because they got to get them legally. They got to get 18 years and up, because they got to get them legally, because otherwise you can't marry them, you can't bring them back. So you have no choice but to go, you got to get it legally. You can't get it illegally. These are the passport bros we're talking about, not the passport Joes. The passport Joes do all types of legal shit, but we don't claim them. So anyway, they're going to go to the poorest country where the women are barefoot and they got dirty feet. Their feet are bare. They ain't got nothing on their feet. And they meet this foreign man and they're, oh, hello, yes. Would you, I'd like to make you some of my green tea. And be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. Why don't you come on over? Next thing you know, they're married and they got children being popped out. And that's it. These men are not chasing after these old, spoiled milk and spoiled egg women here who decided that they're going to stay in college and stay in universities for 10 years and stuff. Next thing you know, they're 40. It's not going to happen. The Japanese refer to them as Christmas cake. They say Christmas cake. You know why? Because they say after the 25th, they're no good. So they're saying after their 25th birthday, they're just no good. Now, if you ask a Japanese man, it's like, hi, Japanese man. It's like, why is the birth rates down in Japan? Why aren't you guys marrying these women who are of age? Because they don't just do this in Japan. They also do this in China. They also do this in South Korea. Now, Southeast Asia doesn't have this problem because in Southeast Asia, the women are pretty much, they're beholden to their men for the most part. But in Far East Asia, they've been hit with feminism, and that feminism is ruining the women there to an extent. And the Japanese, after you're 25, they refuse to even talk to you. Like, they're not marrying you. They refuse. They absolutely refuse. And the Chinese do it too. The Chinese call you sheng nu. They say you're a leftover woman. So they call you leftover cake. Right? Now the Japanese call you Christmas cake. The Koreans pretty much, they follow a lot of that same language because they have some of those Chinese characters too. So the Koreans have pretty much same thing going on. So it's really the passport bros. When we go over there, we're willing to meet and date these women who are older, advanced age. That's the proper term to say. So they might be like 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, maybe even up to 35, maybe. Japanese refuse to do it. Now the Japanese, if you ask a Japanese man and you say, excuse me, sir, your birth rates are going down. Japan's birth rates are going down. You've got entire towns that are going dead. There's nobody there. Why aren't you dating these women who are leftover women? Why aren't you dating these Christmas cakes? That Japanese man, he's going to look you straight in the eyes, and he's going to get very, very upset and angry. And he's basically just going to, he's just going to get very upset. He's going to get very angry. He's going to reply to you, no! Christmas killer! No! So please, in the future, if you ever see a Japanese man and he's single, don't ask him whether or not he's interested in the Christmas cake, because he's not interested. He's just not interested. So, last thing this story says the quest for a decent man in modern America reflects a deeper yearning for genuine connection, mutual respect, and a shared future in an increasingly complex world. Understanding these underlying desires and societal shifts is crucial for navigating the evolving landscape of love and partnership. Let me make this really simple for you. Ladies, stop wasting your time because that's all you got. Men want young wives. If you think that you're going to bring up single mama raised by you, if you think you're going to bring up single mama raised simps, it's not going to work because there's too many men on the internet who are telling them otherwise. They may have never heard the message from Andrew Tate before. Andrew Tate is basically like Farrakhan. As soon as somebody starts saying something that goes against societal norms, they do whatever they can to shut them down. They come up with all types of fake allegations that they can't prove. They come up with everything they can, and it typically fails. And then those people stay in the background. They keep talking shit. So the reality is your sons will be indoctrinated, whether it's by Andrew Tate or somebody else. Whether it's one day it's Kevin Samuels, the next day it's Andrew Tate. The next day, who knows who it'll be. It'll be somebody. It might be one of their friends. Who knows? Bottom line is you're not going to be able to raise single mama raised simps. And they're going to reach the age of reason. They're going to be like, wait a minute. Why am I wasting all my time like Jeff Bezos chasing after used scooch and trying to spend and waste all my money in that direction? And they're like, no, I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And they will get their passport and they will fly a long flight. They will fly far away. And they will go to some country, probably with women in it that you despise. And they will get themselves a wife and there'll be nothing you can do about it. And, they'll have their children. And this is the last thing I will say. The reason why a lot of these people hate the passport bros specifically is because we're not dealing with this bullshit. We're saving up, rather than going on dates with these women here, we're saving up money. We're going on dates in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Malaysia, China, Japan, Korea, and then we're going to take back the White House. Yeah! We're not doing it with you no more. It's a waste of time. They got all these stupid news clips. Oh, the women are angry that the men aren't dating and they're begging the men to come back. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's over for you. War games taught us a valuable lesson. They said war is a strange game. The only way to win is not to play. You involved these young boys in a gender war, and they're not playing. They're taking their ball and leaving. The reason why they hate the passport bros specifically is because we're not dealing with this bullshit. First of all, you got a lot of men who hate the passport bros because they're called plantation bros, and they're going to stay here on the plantation, and they're going to be stuck dealing with sloppy seconds and leftovers. They're going to be having leftovers from Pookie and Ray Ray's leftovers. We are taking our money so far away that they can't afford to follow us. That's what they hate more than anything. We're balling in a place where they can't afford to go. They can't afford to follow us. They can't afford to go there. They can't get the vacation time. The furthest they usually go is like Sosua in Dominican Republic. Maybe if they're lucky, they get to Colombia. Maybe if they're lucky, they get to Brazil. We're going all over the world. We're going all over the world, man. They can't follow us. The second thing that they hate is the fact that they know when we have all these mixed children and we got families with fathers at the head of the household, just like God intended, our children are going to be superior to theirs. Take a look at the last bunch of mixed kids that you had. You got Barack Obama, President of the United States of America. His father from, Kenya? His mom was from, I don't know, Boise, Idaho or some shit. I don't fucking remember. Naomi Osaka, tennis player. She got up there and kicked Venus and Serena's ass. Naomi Osaka. Then you got, who else? You got all of these Blasians. You got Tiger Woods. We had been waiting to put a black man into golf and say, guess what? When we go into golf, because see, this is when it comes to black people in sports, when we go into a sport, we take that shit over instantaneously. Venus and Serena were the first ones we put them into tennis. Nobody cared about black people in tennis. When Venus and Serena came in there, we took that shit over. Tiger Woods, we put a golf club in that kid's hands. Tiger Woods took that whole shit over. I don't know if it was the fact that his mama was Thai and the math skills for calculating all those golf angles and all that stuff and the golf computers. Maybe he had that built into part of his brain because of his mama. I don't know. But the bottom line is we put that golf club in his hand. He took the whole shit over. Naomi Osaka, this girl, half Japanese, half like Haitian or something, and put that tennis racket in her hand. She went out to whip Venus and Serena's ass. Whipped their ass. I think our next target needs to be hockey. I don't know what the mix is that we got to get for that. Maybe you got to mix a black guy with a Mongolian. I really don't know. Probably one of those mongoloid races that deals in ice and stuff. Like, we got to go up there and get one of them women. And what we'll do is raise a kid, and we'll put a hockey stick in his hand as soon as he's like 3. Or, no, 2. When he's 2, we put a hockey stick in his hand. We're going to take over the goddamn NHL. That should be our target. We're going to take over the NHL. And yeah, that's just what it is. It's natural selection, a little bit of Darwinism in there, but that's what we have to do. That should be the target goal. But long story short, they hate the passport bros because we're not dealing with this nonsense. We're saving up our money. We're going abroad. We're going to greener grass, finer horizons. We're letting Pookie and Rayway. Y'all can keep these sloppy seconds. I'm looking right now at the picture of the View on what is this, YouTube. You got Sunny Hostin, you got Joy Behar over here, and Joy Behar ain't got no man, and she's the spokesperson for the whole show right now because Whoopi ain't there. Whoopi ain't got no man, and they consider that fulfilled. They consider that living a fulfilled life. Yeah, well, they've got money. They've got enough money so that they don't have to really worry. But the whole rest of these women, they don't have that kind of wallet. They just don't have it. So the economy is going to whip their ass. And I need a 6-figure man. I need a 6-foot-tall guy with a 6-inch pecker. And he got to have 6-figure salaries. You're not getting it because he's getting his passport. And he's going to go over there. He's going to find him a woman who's a 5'5". She's 5 feet tall. She's got like a 5-inch vagina, and she's got what are the 5? She's got 5 fingers and 5 toes, and that's about it. And and that's the thing. So no, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to get it. The statistics and the numbers don't lie. These stories about women going on these dating sites and dating sites going out of business because they can't get enough men on them, that doesn't lie. Where do you think these men are? You think they at home on a goddamn setting up a freaking Tinder profile? They're waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. They ain't looking for you. They trying to find out about the Grand Theft Auto 6 storyline. That's what they looking for. They don't care about you. And they going to get their passport. And they going to go over there. And they're going to procreate. They're going to colonize over there. That's what they're going to do. So those were 3 stories. I think I'm about out of steam at this point. Those are 3 stories. And basically you can see things are going down and circling the drain. And rightfully so, because it's just not a good environment. Why should men settle for really bad deals? Why should we? We shouldn't. Get your passports. Go to the poorest country you can find. And find one of them 18-year-olds or 19, 20, whatever it is. And she got bare feet with dirt on them. They got to be dirty. And if she speaks too much English, next. When you ask her name, she should come back with, huh? I'm sorry, what did you say? Like, I don't know what you said. I don't know. And that's what you got to do. Because if you get one of these ones who's Americanized and make sure you go to a country where they can't afford an iPhone. That's important. They can't have iPhones. If they have iPhones, yeah, you're going to have a problem. Now, unfortunately, those shitty Galaxy phones have caught up to iPhone in some respects. So if she has a TikTok account, that might be a problem. You can't get one with a TikTok account, because next thing you know, she's going to be vlogging and shit on TikTok and shaking her ass, advertising on TikTok. No. What you got to do is you got to go to like the backyard jungles of Colombia, where they have the river and the alligators, and they got electric eels and stuff. And the women there barefoot, and they know how to avoid the electric eels, and they know how to, like, if they get poisoned, like if they get sick, they know how to reach up, chop a vine, and suck the nectar out of the vine, and that makes them better. That's what you got to look for. That's what you got to look for. You got to go as low to the bottom of the barrel as possible for the poor, the absolute poor. Because if you get one of these Lauren Sanchez's, or whatever the hell her name is that Bezos married, you can rest assured that you're either getting sloppy seconds or she's going to leave you penniless. Just understand that. That's the truth. Elon Musk found out the hard way. What is his name? Bill Gates found out. Don't do it to yourself. Just don't do it to yourself.
Home early from deployment to surprise my wife. Let's see what she's up to.
She's all yours, little bro.
What the hell, Tyrone, Jamal, and Trayvon?
To be continued.